Hi, it's Mary. I hope that you are doing well. Thank you so much for joining me here today. We have been getting in quite a few of the young adult books at the library since about March, but I know that it's hard to get a feel for what they're about or to know what's in without actually coming in and looking. And you are able to come in for a quick look for books and other materials now. But if you're unable to make it during the times that we do that, then it's difficult to select new titles to read. And so I thought what I would do between now and the end of September is choose some of the new titles and read them and then post videos talking about them. So, to that end, I have chosen a few books to read. And I tried to choose them from different genres of young adult, and so I selected titles that were historical young adult fiction, or contemporary young adult fiction, or fantasy young adult fiction. So let's take a look at what I will be reading this month. For my historical young adult title, I have chosen Deadly Curious. And Deadly Curious is about Sophia Thompson, and she would like to be a runner and work with detectives in 1834 in London. And so this is a story about her helping to solve a crime and realizing that maybe the person who perpetrated that crime is a little closer to her than she realized. My contemporary young adult fiction for this month is 5 Feet Apart. And 5 Feet Apart's main character is Stella, and Stella has a lung disease, and so she needs a lung transplant. And so that she doesn't get sick, she has to stay 5 feet apart away from other people. And I thought that this would be a good book to read at this time where we are all maintaining social distancing from those we encounter. And I also thought that maybe I can relate to it more than the author thought I would be able to relate to it, because we have been doing the social distancing thing to keep ourselves and each other safe. So that is my contemporary fiction for this month. I also chose an older contemporary fiction book from 2018, Poet X, which I've heard is an excellent book. The main character is living a life where the demands that are placed on her are not in line with who she is, and she starts journaling and writing poetry, and then she realizes she needs to express her beliefs. So I'm excited to see the transformation that writing poetry helps the character take. On to fantasy young adult fiction. So I really love fantasy novels anyway, and so I have chosen actually 2 young adult fantasy novels. The first one is new. It is The Kingdom of Back, and I started reading this one already. So this will probably be the first review that you see. And The Kingdom of Back is about Mozart and his sister Nannerl. Nannerl's greatest wish is to be remembered for her composing and her music. And so she makes an agreement with someone who may not be all that he seems. So the other young adult fantasy book that I've chosen is by Maggie Stiefvater, and it is The Raven Boys. And this is an older book. I believe it was published in 2012, and I'm really excited to read it. I've heard that it's really an excellent book, and it's the first book of a series. So I'm excited to read this, and I will let you know what I think of it. So this is my reading list for between now and the end of September, and I will try to get those review videos posted once a week at least. And the purpose of the review is not to tell you if I liked it or not, although I will let you know what I thought of it, but just to give you an idea of what it's about without any spoilers, and suggesting other novels that if you liked other titles, that you might like the specific title that I'm reviewing also. I would love to hear what you are reading also and what your plans are for the month of September. You can contact me anytime with questions or suggestions or anything that you're reading or working on and would like to share information about. So, I'm going to go get started reading. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.